Good afternoon, Eagle parents. Hey, it is Thursday, September 3rd, the last day of the actual school week for our students. So I wanted to reach out to you today to give you an update before the long holiday weekend. There's a lot of information in this release, so please, I'll try to get through this as quickly as I can, but be as thorough as I can. First off, I'm going to share this document with you also. There's a nice article in a publication called Chicago Parent that rates the Dunlap School District as one of the top 25 school districts in the entire state. Very nice read, a good publication for us, obviously, good publicity. And as you can guess, I was wondering what it would look like if we ranked those same top 25 schools in the order of expenditure per pupil and see where we ranked. Well, I did that for you in there, and we had the lowest expenditure per pupil in that top 25 schools. So doing more with less. So excellent reflection on the school district. And that article is there, and those rankings are there for you to link into. First and foremost, DHS Health. Knock on wood, we continue to have back-to-back great weeks of overall student health here. We've continued to improve. We only have one positive case this week in the building. Well, they're excluded from the building, but one positive case for Dunlap High School, 61 in quarantine, 30 excluded. That means they may have come to the CARES room with symptoms, and they could be related to something entirely different. They've been excluded, and we've had 152 students return to DHS. So that is a big week for us. Now, having said that, everybody in the building is concerned about what next Tuesday will look like after this long weekend. We are pleading with you to help us keep our children healthy. Help us when they are with their friends. Please, reinforce to be wearing their mask, washing their hands, maintaining social distance, and so that we can continue to build on those momentum and have a successful semester. So we really need your help. I know you're going to be traveling. I know family's going to be coming into town for a lot of you, but please maintain the healthy guidelines. Remote learning. So remote learning is becoming an entity all to its own, and we really, really need to address this and grow with it as we become more knowledgeable about the pros and cons of remote learning. First of all, the Illinois State Board of Education has released what's known as priority standards. Under the circumstances with the COVID-related obstacles that we have to overcome, they have released what's called priority standards. So what is essential for students to know in each of the content areas? And that's really what we're focusing on, particularly in the remote learning section. So they don't go as in depth in some areas or as broad, but they're still equally deep in those areas. So those are called the priority standards. What we've identified is two groups of remote learners. One is the student who loves remote learning, who does really well in it, who's able to complete all their assignments with high level of quality and do a part-time job, visit with their family, and so forth. Those students are doing really well. Then we also have this other segment of the remote learning population that maybe they didn't do very well in school, and now they're trying to do it out of school, and it's becoming more and more challenging for them and the teachers. There's a lot of communication going back and forth between the teacher and the student. What's complicating that for the teachers is the number of parent emails coming in too, wondering what's going on, and the parent newness to Canvas and how to navigate all that. So what it boils down to is there's a lot of time being spent chasing down remote learners and answering questions to them and to their parents, and our teachers are just finding a hard time balancing all this. So I want you to understand there are entirely different expectations for remote learners this fall. And I know we've said that before, but I'm reiterating it again. There's an attendance aspect. They have to check their Canvas page for each teacher by 11 o'clock and fill out that attendance form before 11 o'clock. They need to stay engaged. All right. The remote learning plan, when we talked about that as a district at the district level, it talked about the expectation is for you to be present in that those forums. Okay, we expect the students to be present when they're supposed to be. Okay, when their schedule aligns for it, and if they can't be present at a certain time because they have another class going on, they need to communicate that with the teacher, and that's not happening. So we need to do a lot better job with that. What we're afraid of is we're losing some of these students who are becoming disenfranchised and disengaged in the learning process, and we're not going to be able to get them back into that fold. So parents at home, if you've got one of those students, we really need you to help us keep them engaged and hold them accountable for the work. They have to complete the work. If they have an assessment set up for a certain time and they don't show up to that assessment without communicating to the teacher, they're not going to get any credit for it. And that's going to be really hard to dig them out of that hole. So please help us with that. I talked a little bit about the attendance policy. Teacher time, like I said, we're spending a lot of time tracking down students, and our saying right now is we can't teach them if we can't reach them. So they need to be available during that time. We're getting reports of students waking up at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon and trying to get in and do it. It's just not going to work that way. They are still responsible for their education. Our teachers are there. We've built a schedule to support them. They have to be there and be ready to learn. That's no different than being in school. All right. Canvas. So parents, you're having difficulty accessing Canvas or learning Canvas. We've included a link here in this Google Doc it's a tutorial to show you how to join your students' Canvas pages as an observer. Okay, so I think that's pretty self-explanatory. That will show you how to do it if you have those questions. So please check that out. We've also had some requests for the building calendar as far as which days are A days and which days are B days. Those are linked here also on our DHS Return to Learn plan. It's on page 5. It will tell you which days are A's and which days are B's. That's important to know. Before I get to the last part, we will start club days next week, but only for executive members of the clubs, because those leaders need to get together to figure out how they're going to manage their groups if they're larger than 50, okay, or what the expectations are going to be. Are they going to meet outside? They're going to hold Google Meets or what? So the leadership of those clubs will start to meet next week, and we'll have a communication out after that. The last thing I want to leave you with is the old political or war quote that says, never let a good crisis go to waste. So we are approaching Dunlap High School, the 2020-2021 school year, the same way. There's a lot of good things that are happening here. Our teachers are becoming much, much better at teaching in a remote environment. They've learned a lot. They've learned a lot last spring. They've learned a lot this summer. So we want to take this momentum and move forward. And what that means is we want to explore the potential for adding more blended courses or more even remote courses in the future. So we see this as an opportunity to get better. Once this crisis is over, we may not look like we did in the 1920 school year. So, the 2019-2020 school year. We may look a little bit different. We may have more offerings. So we want to challenge our staff and challenge ourselves to think outside the box right now and use this momentum to find what's good. For instance, right now we know our discipline is way down. We don't have any problems, knock on wood, in the hallways because there's no lockers. Now, I'm not saying we're going to eliminate lockers, but I'm just saying there's always a cause and effect. And sometimes the effect is better than the original plan. So with that being said, please know that we're working on that and trying to take this and make the most of it and maybe hopefully improve on it. So there's a lot there. I know. Obviously, feel free to email me. But until then, you just have a healthy, safe weekend, and you stay classy, Dunlap. Thank you so much.